We're back with episode 6 of Meal Prep Mondays. This one's going to be Basil Pesto chicken pasta. It tastes absolutely incredible and it's super easy to make. And I know a few people don't like chicken in pasta, but it's all about cooking to your preference. If you like something, do it. If you don't, don't. Simple as that. Let's get straight into it. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, starting this off, I'm using chicken breasts for this recipe, but you can use thigh if you prefer, and the weight that's needed is 750 grams or 1.6 pounds, which can be placed into a mixing bowl. This is then going to be very lightly seasoned with 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of onion powder and 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of garlic powder for a strong concentrated flavour, sea salt flakes to taste, as well as 20 cracks of black pepper. Also to taste means to your liking, obviously don't taste the raw chicken. Drizzle over 1 tablespoon or 20 milliliters of olive oil to help the seasoning stick, and then get your clean hands in there to give it all a good rub down, just until everything is well coated. To cook the chicken, place a large pan over medium-high heat, add in 1 tablespoon or 20 milliliters of olive oil, and once hot, place in the chicken, spreading them out so they don't overlap, and sear for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes and we have a nice golden colour, flip them over and do the same thing again on the opposite side, which will create a seal to keep that moisture locked in. Then remove these from the stovetop and place them in a preheated oven set at 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 13 minutes. Once done and our chicken is perfectly cooked through, remove it from the oven but switch it to the grill or broil setting, then allow the chicken to rest in the pan for the time being whilst we do everything else. Now on a tray lined with parchment paper, spread out 30 grams or 1.06 ounces of pine nuts and then take these over to the oven, which is on the grill broil setting, and toast for 1 to 1.5 minutes or until golden, which is going to greatly enhance their flavour, and once done, remove and let cool for 10 minutes. As for the prep for the basil pesto, we need 2 to 3 garlic cloves depending on how much you like garlic, and run these along a fine microplaner box grater to create a paste, and I recommend using 2 to start with as you can always add but you can't take out. Next is 1 lemon, and we actually only need half of it, and with this slice it in half, saving the other half for either the finished dish or another recipe or drink, and with our half extract the juice either using a citrus juicer or by hand, just make sure no seeds decide to come along for the journey. For the basil pesto, some basil would be good, with this being 2 bunches or around 60 grams worth, and with this pick off the leaves from the stems, but save the stems from 1 bunch, placing the other into compost, and with the 1 bunch, just give this a rough chop to make it easier to break down, and you may not know, but basil stems are full of so much flavour. Now to put this together, I'm doing it in a blender, but by all means use a mortar and pestle. To start, add in the minced garlic, 30 grams or 1.06 ounces of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano or Parmesan cheese, the toasted pine nuts, sliding them down the parchment paper express, and the lemon juice. Let's then pop the lid on nice and secure and blend this up on a higher setting just until the pine nuts are broken down and mixed through the cheese, and you may also want to scrape down the sides if needed. Once that's done, add in the picked basil leaves as well as the stems, a nice big pinch of sea salt flakes to taste, cracked black pepper to taste with myself doing 20 cracks worth, and to bind this all together, half a cup or 125 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil, and you may want to use more depending on the consistency you like. Let's then blend this all again, scraping down the sides if needed, just until everything is equally blended together, and like I said, add more extra virgin olive oil if needed, then turn this off, leaving us with this bowl of deliciousness that can be placed in the fridge until we're ready to serve. Now whilst the chicken's still cooling down and the pesto is getting cold, place a large pot of water over high heat, generously season with salt and bring it to a boil. Then once boiling, add in 750 grams or 1.6 pounds of penne or the pasta of your choice, give it a quick mix to avoid any clumps, and cook for 1 minute less than what it states on the packet instructions. Once achieved, this can then be removed from the stovetop and poured through a colander to drain. It is also a good idea to put a little bit of pasta water aside. Whilst the pasta is cooling, the chicken can then be thinly sliced across the grain, which breaks the fibres, creating a softer texture, and I do apologise that this is slightly blurry. I made a mistake with the camera settings and I was really excited to show off this incredible knife. Anyway, once sliced, this can then be left like this or slightly torn apart, which I highly recommend doing, and then place this back into the pan with all of those resting juices. After the pasta is slightly cooled, it can then be tipped into a large mixing bowl, then add in the sliced and torn chicken along with all of those delicious pan juices, making sure not to waste a single bit of this. Right after that, add in all of the basil pesto, again not wasting any, and then use a spatula and give everything a really good mix through, ensuring the pesto is coating everything. Also at this stage you can add in some of that pasta water if you'd like to change the consistency, as well as adjusting the seasoning levels. With that all done, this can then be portioned out with the weight per serving being 450 grams or 1 pound. Place a wedge of lemon in each container, which is optional. Drizzle over some extra virgin olive oil, grate over some Parmigiano Reggiano or Parmesan cheese, and of course top it with some more cracked black pepper. These will then last 4 days in the fridge and 3 months in the freezer, and like always, here is the nutritional values of the complete dish just so you know what you're consuming. As for reheating, place it in the microwave until hot throughout, and then to make all of our efforts worthwhile, we can then squeeze over that lemon for a fresh citrus kick, and of course, we can then dig in.